Thank you for coming and connecting with Sally. We'd like to ask the question, could you explain more about the two earths?
So that is an interesting question because yes, there are two earths, but in fact there's more than that. There's many earths in many galaxies across the cosmos. So when we talk about two earths, what we're really talking about is people vibrating at different levels. So we could get two people in the same family living on the same earth but experiencing it in different ways. The person who's vibrating at a higher level would be able to cross through, as we've talked about before, the veils are going to be thinner between worlds, so we'll be able to cross between worlds, we'll be able to ascend higher, communicate more easily with the angelic realm, with the ascended masters, and the person who's vibrating on a lower level won't have access to that yet. So they're both living on the same earth, but also a parallel earth. As technology increases and as time progresses, other earths will be available for man to go and live on should they choose. The term parallel earth is quite a good one for that because they're similar to yet different from Earth. There are beings, star beings, who live on these planets, very similar to humans but not quite, because humans and Earth are it's very unique, which is why so many star family like to come to Earth to learn. With the idea of people vibrating at different levels, it's possible during the course of a day for somebody to be vibrating at 7D, 12D, but then also vibrating at 3D, depending on what they're doing, what their current state of mind is, whether they're doing something like meditating, whether they are being mindful in the forest or watching one of your soap operas. People can be many vibrations all in the course of just one day. Does that answer your question? I feel there's more.
Yes. Yes, please, yes.
The thing about the fifth dimension, will everybody move up to that and beyond, or will it be that some will stay in one state and some in another? Can you give me some idea of how this is going to progress?
So people are always moving forward and growing in terms of realms of experience, in terms of knowledge, but also in terms of ascension. So, and everybody's journey is different. Some people start at a higher level of vibration and obviously will progress higher quicker. But there will be some people for whom it just doesn't resonate and they won't progress much higher. But there seems to be this fear on Earth that if one person, as I talked about, one family is vibrating higher and one person in the family is vibrating lower, that means they will have to separate. No, they won't. They will can still live in the same space, but one person will be achieving higher, a high vibration, a higher, to be fair, quality of life than the one at a lower vibration. But if the person who's vibrating, it's interesting the way you're asking this, because if the person who's vibrating at a lower vibration, if they are open to learning without fully understanding why, that will enable a sizable shift to occur. So in a nutshell, people will improve, their vibrations will rise, but some not as quick as others and some not as high as others. Some relationships, I suppose, will naturally, as in other circumstances, will naturally fall apart, but other relationships and families will still stay together, but maybe with one or two family members vibrating at a higher level than the other family members. Does that explain it in more detail?
Yes, it does. Thank you. But I suppose on a more global level, how is that going to transmute in terms of governments and how the world is going to be run? Sorry, it's a bit of a big question.
That's a really good question. The government is falling. It's already happening. The world's going to go back to basics. We'll be going back to, I've spoken about this before, about finding our tribe, going back to nature, more holistic ways of healing. There will be no money system, no tax system. These areas are already, the cracks are already showing. And then there's companies who now are deciding not to deal with social media, and who are kind of ahead of the curve on this. And eventually, the known systems will fall. There will still be people who are leaders, but they are going to be the people who have the wisdom and the knowledge to help people in areas of their life, but enable them to help themselves. So the society you see now isn't the society you're going to see in 5 years' time. I would say in 18 months is when you're really going to start to see evidence and these bigger cracks appearing in things like the banking system, finances, tax. Education is going to take a little bit longer. Also to do with food and supermarkets. There's going to be a real surge of people wanting local food, and supermarkets beginning to realise that the need and the want is greater than they would have thought of. Does that explain things?
Yes, yeah, thank you. I know this is a difficult question to answer, but how long will this, how what I understand is the shift, how long will that take to complete? Will it be a number of decades?
No, it'll be sooner than that. You're going to start to see, as I said, in 18 months. Next couple of years, maybe 5 years, you're really going to start to see, but maybe as long as a decade for things, for everybody to be aware. I mean, many people are already aware of what's going on on your earth, on the systems. The information's there for those whose eyes are open enough to see. Does that help?
Yeah. I'm also interested in the whole thing to do with, well, I don't like to use the word aliens, but I understand that they're supporting and helping us at this time, and helping us move into this other world, this new world. Can you expand on that a bit?
Star family are already living amongst you. You yourself are made of star seed. You know, star family DNA. You all are. You all came from planets out of the solar system. You're all family from the cosmos. It's not that there are spaceships or light ships of beings ready to save the Earth. They are giving the energy and the support. They're already talking to world leaders. They're talking to people who can channel star family, offering information and a viewpoint maybe different from what's being offered already. So they're not going to come and save you because they're enabling humans, they're enabling man to save themselves. Society will group together and save themselves with the support of Star Family. But it's not going to be that people get evacuated to starships and the Earth's going to blow up or anything of that ilk.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have any more questions? I feel you're.
Yeah, no, thank you.
I feel there's more you want to know.
I just had a question about Earth being a member of the galactic community. Will that take a lot longer? Or are we all... I just wondered if you have any information that could...
Earth being a member of the galactic community, Earth is already a member of the galactic community.
But we're too warlike to be a proper member of the... or for us to be aware of the galactic community and take part in it.
Earth is a bit like one of our projects.
Thank you.
You're a bit of an experiment. You're quirky, and we like this. We look on you with love and joy, and we understand your foibles. And then there are members of your community who are already working with us in the Galactic Council. Many psychics and people in the government already working and have been for many years, been working with us. Yes, Earth is warlike, and sometimes people behave like toddlers, throwing their toys out of the crib. But often the fighting, the wars you see are a distraction from something else. Most of the turmoil and the stress and the anxiety and the aggression you see on the news, on social media, more often than not, it's a cover for something else that's going on. It's a distraction. And the Galactic Council and Star Family, Star Beings are more involved than you would think.
Thank you. I think my term should have been starfaring rather than member of the Galactic Council, but thank you. Thank you.
So will there be an end to crime and corruption when we go into the new Earth?
Yes. Yeah. Corruption will fall, but man is man, so it will be rocky to start. You know, people might steal each other's food and things like that, but people will soon realise that the way to survive is through being in a community. And it's a community, you rob from your community, you're robbing from yourself. So there will be a transition period without a doubt. But people will soon realise that the way to work, the way for life to work, is to work together. There's no individual I or me, there's a collective unity of souls, there's a collective of people who will be working as one.
Thank you. Will that coincide with unity consciousness?
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you.
People are already working towards that. There are people who can already communicate psychically as you do in your groups. There are people who have conversations psychically, and this is going to continue. And
groups within world governments who are working to this end already. Some countries have groups within them in the governments where people are practicing and learning these skills, have been able to link together. It's not such a big jump to start thinking about unity consciousness and creating a consciousness of one. It's not too big a jump.
Oh, thank you.
How will the United Kingdom fare in this change? Will it be a leader in the world, or will it take a back seat? Unlike history, will there be other countries that lead the way?
The United Kingdom will seem like the underdog, but often there's strength in being the underdog. So the people in the United Kingdom and other awake communities around the world will be doing things in a more aware kind of way, in a more spiritual way. But to the big countries and the big corporations, it will look like they're the underdog, but really they will be the ones who are more successful at uniting people and working together than some of the other more sophisticated countries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions?
A lot of people are suffering with the current situation with energy prices, energy suppliers. What needs to happen for that to change? Is it a shift in consciousness, or an event, or something else?
We are aware people are really struggling financially with the cost of electricity, gas and oil. It's going to take a while for this shift to occur, but some governments have introduced policies and systems which enable this scarcity to exist. And they've lost sight of their people, and the people are paying the price for their greed and corruption. There is enough energy for everybody to go round. You don't need energy companies to make energy. And like the shift with the financial systems breaking down, that is how it's going to work with the energy systems. People are already working on ways of making energy free and generating free energy from the environment, from salt water. But the people who are doing this, those brave souls, are working very much underground. So as with a lot of things with these shifts, it will be the awake community and the people who can truly see that will benefit first, and then other people whose eyes are shut to the corruption and the quest for money and power, that will come to them later. But eventually, the so-called financial crisis and energy crisis will be solved. For, in fact, it's not a crisis at all. The government of your country is just putting on this mask of lack and this mask of need, when really it is not there at all.
Yes, thank you. And what will happen as a bridge to bridge the current situation and free energy coming in? How will people cope? What will happen as a bridge between, because they're very, very different, aren't they? The current situation and everybody having access to free energy, and we know the technology already exists. What happens in that challenging, presumably, interim period? Will it be challenging?
Yes, it will be challenging. Cosmic law, people should not have to pay for their energy, but the government has made it so. These people will be struggling in the interim and might have to think about not paying their bills if they cannot afford to pay them, and to just ride this out, because it's not going to be an easy transition. But the government and the powers that be have made it so. It shouldn't be like this, and it needn't be like this. And as with a lot of places which are corrupt in their quest for power and dominance, it's the people who are at the bottom who suffer. And until this energy, like you said, until this energy is made available to everybody, it is the weakest in society, the poorest in society, who in effect pay the price. But that isn't how it should be. It's just an unfortunate fact of the way certain governments have chosen to rule their countries.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any more questions?
No, I think we're. Thank you so much for connecting with Sally, and thank you for all the information you've given us this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.